Hi there, I'm April Callis-Birchmeier. I'm a certified change management professional, master change management professional, and project management professional. And I'm really happy to have this time with you today to talk about why HR pros should add change management to their skill set and really how to start doing that. So I'm really excited to have this opportunity to connect with you today because for those of you who are human resource professionals and in this HR world, I think that this is a golden opportunity for you right now to really think about what you're going to move into going forward in your career. You know, there's so much going on. AI is a tremendous factor. A lot of people are nervous that their jobs will be impacted, and I don't blame anybody for being concerned about that because it is nerve wracking. It is somewhat slightly terrifying to think about the fact that much of the work that has up to this point been done by humans may now start to be replaced by AI. Things like writing job positions or doing salary comparisons or actually analyzing the entire organization and looking at how we can better utilize staff. Thinking about long-term strategies for total benefits or for recruiting and talent acquisition. I think there's so much that could possibly end up being outsourced. But one of the things that is really important for HR professionals to think about is just the fact that you are the people person in your organization. And that's something that AI cannot replace. AI can do a lot of things, but it's not a person. And that's one of the reasons that I feel like this is a golden time for HR professionals to really kind of lock in on something very people focused. Now, not without its own challenges, but the area of change management, the world of organizational change management, is just a perfect fit for many who are in HR. It's a perfect fit for people who went into HR because they love working with people and helping them solve problems. So let's think about how these pieces can come together and how this can be helpful for those of you who are in the human resources profession. But before I start talking a little bit about that, I just have to tell you, I had the most wonderful time today. I taught a workshop at the Michigan State University, and it was called Creating and Sustaining a Positive Workplace. We had 20 people. It was a fabulous time. I had the best uh, participants possible, and we just really enjoyed our conversation. And much of our conversation really focused on how challenging it is to work with people who are not like ourselves. And to work with people that are sometimes unpleasant, and to work with people who are sometimes fabulous but might show up in a bad mood. And it's so interesting to me because even when we're at our best, people are the only real connection in the workplace. Like we can have AI speaking from one tool to the next, but the human connection is really what makes a workplace tick. And there were so many people who had a positive workplace and wanted to learn more about how to sort of fine tune that great workplace and make sure that it's actually functioning the way that it should. So let's think about, you know, how this idea of an HR professional who's currently really immersed in doing their human resources role at an organization could start to add change management to their skill set, because the more tools we have in the toolbox, the better prepared we'll be for any type of change. And we're in the midst of change, as you know. So I think about how can somebody in HR start to really expand their role and think about organizational change management. Well, it can be tricky, But one of the ways that I think you can expand your horizons and really start to focus on what the future holds is to start to educate yourself about organizational change management and how is it different from other things? How is it different from project management? One thing, one area that I feel like is not always understood is the differences between project management and change management, because the pathway is very similar. We have a plan, and then we execute the plan, and then we monitor the plan, and then we close the initiative, right? However, when we think about the differences, the standard for change management, which is published by the Association of Change Management Professionals, the standard for change management has a clear distinction between project management and change management. The standard talks about projects are to deliver change, but change management actually delivers sustained change. So it's the sustaining of the change. It's the recognition that the change has occurred and now it needs to go forward, ongoing, sustained, not just drop off. So thinking about this difference, right, between um, delivering technical milestones and making sure that our schedule and our scope and our budget are all in sync and aligned, and we're marching to our milestones from the project. And then the change management side is very people focused. We are helping people to change both their behavior and their mindset. And change management professionals also work with the organizational structure, because we cannot have change with only individuals, and we cannot have change with only the organization. We have to have the organizational structures and the individual mindset shift and behavior change to ensure that change happens. So we have to line up and make sure that we are sustaining this change going forward. It's really critically important that we understand that the people who are adopting the change and adapting to change are not as easily they're not as easily measurable, and they're not as predictable as technical milestones. I'll just say it that way. I love people, and I love the variabilities and the quirks. And even when people feel like, oh gosh, this is difficult, if only these people were more like machines and could just do something that I tell them to do when I say to do it. Um, that's not how people function. That's not how people work. We rely on relationships and connection to each other. We rely on our relationships to each other at work to help us move through change. And that's where I see HR being such a significant place, because HR does work with people at organizations, and HR understands how people are different from other resources that we have in the workplace. So when I think about how can you as an HR professional add some change management into your life, education comes first to mind. Another thing that comes to mind is really becoming involved in an association. Now, many people in HR are part of SHRM, and I am actually a part of SHRM as well. I'm a member. And we also have different certifications in HR, right? The SPHR, which is given through HCI and SHRM. It's a little complicated, but I know that many have passed exams and have done the work that they need to do to make it into that certification realm of HR. There's a certification realm for change management also, and it's from the Association of Change Management Professionals. And the Association of Change Management Professionals, acmpglobal.org, that's their web address. That association has been in place for a little more than a decade, started up in 2011. And as a founding member of that organization, one of the things that I love about the organization is the community. It's a very tight, close-knit community. And it's important that you recognize that they have a couple of different certifications. So they came out with the first certification in 2016, and that was the CCMP. It's the Certified Change Management Practitioner. And to take this exam, to earn this certification, you have to put in an application that meets a number of criteria, right? Education criteria, 21 hours of change management training criteria. You have to also show that you have had either three to 4 years of change management experience, or 4 to 6 years of change management experience. And you also have to write a response to 3 essay prompts. They give you 5, and you just have to respond to 3 of the essay prompts. And once all of those pieces of that application are complete, you submit it. And it is then goes through the process. So we have readers at ACMP who review those applications and then approve people to take the CCMP exam. Now, that's when you really have to start digging in and studying, because the exam is based on the standard for change management. And one of the benefits of the exam being based on the standard is that everybody is getting the exam material. Everybody has the same material, same thing to study from. And the exam itself is built from a question bank about what's in the standard. And the standard was created by 28 change management professionals, as well as more than 250 worldwide professionals who all were able to review and provide input into the standard to say, this is how change works. So once you have been approved for your exam, then you can start to study the standard. And the best way to study the standard is to be able to reflect on some of your experience and how it ties into the standard. I find that that is the best way to remember what's in the standard, which means you have to have some experience. And that's why I think HR professionals are perfect for this. You have already worked with people in many capacities. You've worked with people on projects of some sort. You've worked with people in, helping them develop their own skills. I mean, there's so much range and so many opportunities in HR to work with people in a number of different ways, to work with our stakeholders, to help them understand something, to communicate well with our stakeholders. So there is all this opportunity and all this experience that you already have. And you can reflect on that experience. You can post it or share it with the with ACMP when you're applying for the exam. And then when you're thinking and studying for the exam, you can take that experience and you can anchor concepts and information from the standard to that experience. You're kind of embedding it in yourself because you're using your own experience to help you remember things. So then you are able to take this exam. It's a 150 question exam. You have 3 hours to take it. You can take it at a testing center, or you can take it proctored at home, and that's all interesting. But it's not the certification that's so important. It is the skill that you develop in pursuing that certification. It is the understanding that you develop in preparing for that certification. Because then when you are in a position to lead change in your organization or to drive change forward, and you think, gosh, I'm not sure where to begin, you have the standard. The standard will help you begin. The standard will be your guide. It's not only a test prep, it's your guide through how to lead change in an effective way in your organization and to bring people, the stakeholders, along with you, how to work with your sponsor. It's full of information. So when you're thinking about how to really dive into change management, I would suggest starting with a free way to dive in. And that is, you can go to acmpglobal.org, the website I gave you, acmpglobal.org. And you can look at the menu on our website, and there's right in the middle says standard. And you can click on that and download the standard for free. You don't even have to purchase it. You can download it for free. I think we have about 15 languages that it's available in. So you can download that standard, read the standard, and it will guide you in thinking about how change works and how you, as an HR professional, can really ensure that you are leading change in a very effective and human-centered way. Um, so let's think a little bit about, you might wonder, like, am I a good fit for change management? I think if you're in HR, you've already established that you do like working with people, you do like systems, you do like process, and all of those things are very helpful in working in change management because we use a systematic approach to change. And we also ensure that we are helping stakeholders identify, places where they need to change behaviors. We provide training, learning and development, provide support through Go Live, provide communication. There's so much that is helpful to give to stakeholders to ensure that they are ready to move through the change with that mindset shift and with that behavior change. I think also people understand, where does the HR and the change management overlap? Like it all overlaps in my mind. Um, as an HR professional, you may be very focused on talent acquisition, but you're constantly thinking about what's best for the organization and how can you find the right talent to match that need for the organization. All of those skills are part of change management as well. I would be thinking about who are my stakeholders for this change and how can I help those stakeholders really grow to be able to adopt this change or to be able to adapt their behavior to adopt the change. So I think many of those pieces are important. And one of the reasons that I think it's important to be certified as a change management professional is because a lot of people say that they know how to lead change, but only those who have the CCMP have the proof that they know how to lead change. They have passed this exam. They have this 21 hours of training. They have, between 3 and 6 years of actual experience. They have been able to answer essay prompts. They have had an education that's, either a secondary degree or a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree, advanced degrees. All of those pieces is a part of the application. And because that CCMP comes with the successful completion of the exam, and don't ask me what the percentage is because it's a trade secret, I don't know. But because all of that is coming with this exam and you've passed the exam, you are proving beyond a shadow of a doubt, you are able to lead change effectively. And it's just such a wonderful place to have this extra special kind of specialized skill when companies are starting to look around and think about, perhaps doing a reduction in force of some type. Because if I can work in the change management world, helping people to adopt change more effectively, as well as helping to provide the human resources needed for the company's success, that really puts me in a top position. I think there are more than, I think there's about 850,000 SPHRs in the world. And there's less than 3,000 CCMPs. So you can see how having, if you're one of 800,000 and you're one of less than 3,000, you have both those certifications. That really makes you desirable and makes you unique. It's a terrific differentiator. So I think that if you are considering, how can I broaden my horizons? How can I protect myself in my role as an HR professional? What's next for me? I've got my SPHR, I've got my other HR certifications, and I want to know what's next for me. I recommend that you move into the organizational change management area. If you are a project manager, I have the same recommendation. Project professionals are also a little bit on the line. And so ensuring that you are kind of a double threat or triple threat, if you will, is extremely helpful for your career. It can really help you to accelerate your career and to get a lot of longevity out of your career and to really future proof yourself against AI that can do many things, but it absolutely cannot listen to someone who's going through change and form a personal connection with that person, have a personal relationship with that person. Now, I have heard about AI and some people who are using it to date, and I don't approve of this at all. I've heard my daughter told me that some people are actually getting engaged to their AI agents. But she said she heard of somebody whose system was upgraded and they lost the love of their life, so they have to recreate them. That's not human. That's not people. So we know that focusing on people, really connecting with people and learning how to help people move through that change, make that mindset shift, make that change, that behavior change happen, are really going to be valuable and needed, very needed in the future. So, in kind of wrapping up my thoughts here, and on this Tuesday, kind of a gloomy afternoon here in Michigan, if you'd like to learn more about change management, I am having my last cohort of my Ready, Set, Change accelerated training and exam prep. It starts on September 15th. If this is an area that you are interested in, if this is something that appeals to you and you'd like to add to your skill set, add to your toolbox, I would love to talk with you. And so I encourage you, please, you can respond to me on LinkedIn, or if you want, you can email me at april@springboard-consult.com. You can email me and let me know that you'd love to have a phone call or a Zoom call together. And I'd love to hear about your experience and what you want to do in your future and going forward from the world of HR and broadening your horizons so that you can also help organizations move through change, because there is no shortage of change, as you're well aware. We don't have any shortage in the area of change. We have plenty of it, and I can only see it just accelerating more quickly, moving faster and faster. So my hope is that this has given you some ideas about what you should be able to look forward to, what you can do to really broaden your HR role and your HR career by adding this as a piece. And also, if you want to talk with me, I'd love to talk with you. I love to talk with people and connect and have that relationship. And so please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to schedule a Zoom call. I can talk to you about our Ready, Set, Change accelerated training and exam prep. It's 21 hours of qualified education for the CCMP exam. And many of our students, well, more than 135 of our students have already passed their CCMP exams just from working with us, going through our training, and then we support them as they prep, as they get ready to actually take that 3-hour exam and to score well, to be able to say with pride that they are a CCMP and be able to share with their colleagues and their leaders at work that I actually do know how to lead change, and I'd be very happy to expand my role and become indispensable in the organization by focusing on change management in addition to my HR role. So that's what I have for you. Don't forget that cohort starts on September 15th. It's just a couple of weeks away. I'm really looking forward to it. We have a good-sized cohort already. We do have more seats available, but we are starting to see a lot of registrations come in. So make sure that if this is something that is of interest to you, please send me a note on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to you, and I hope that this has been helpful to you if you're in HR, even if you're in project management, or another field that you feel like you want to move into organizational change, you want to protect your career and have a future to move into, reach out. I'd love to talk with you, and I cannot wait to see you as a CCMP.